I'm the most sought-after makeup artist in horror games. Before each game starts, the NPCs sit in a tidy row, waiting for me to apply their makeup. With the enhancement of my makeup skills, their intimidation factor before players doubles, and their performance ratings skyrocket. Even the big horror boss came to see me because of my reputation. However, looking at the big boss in front of me with 16 heads and 32 eyes, my mouth twitched. I can paint the decorations for you, but it'll cost extra. 1 second, I was clutching my makeup kit and running toward the film crew. The next second, I was pulled into a horror game dungeon called The Devil's Bride. Before I could figure out what was happening, a furious shout came from the room ahead. Where on earth did that makeup artist go? What about my bridal makeup? Our dungeon has already ranked last 3 times in a row. If the makeup isn't right, the ratings will definitely be at the bottom again. Players are about to drop into the dungeon. Where am I supposed to find another makeup artist? I was a bit confused by the earlier words, but the last sentence made my work spirit awaken instantly. As a dedicated little makeup artist, hustling for business is my daily routine. I immediately knocked on the door. Beautiful lady, volunteering herself. Do you need a makeup artist? The room went silent for a moment. A moment later, the door slowly opened. A girl with delicate features, wearing a mask, appeared before me. This is an NPC from a horror game? She looks completely unintimidating. She looked me up and down, full of distrust. Are you a player? I nodded sincerely. Beautiful lady, do you want bridal makeup? I've worked on many weddings. I can definitely make you look beautiful. Beautiful? A trace of mockery appeared in her eyes. That word has nothing to do with me. As she spoke, she took off her mask. 2 long slits were torn on both sides of her mouth, almost reaching her ears. Is this still beautiful? Unlike what she expected, I didn't show the slightest panic or disgust. I just smiled and nodded. It's very beautiful. I looked at her with a smile. Every girl has her own unique beauty. You need to be more confident. As for the parts that aren't so perfect, I can use makeup to help you touch them up. It's not a big problem. Many of my clients have appearance anxiety. When a client lacks confidence, I must not show any negative emotions. This is my professional ethic. The slit-mouthed woman froze for a moment, seemingly not expecting my reaction. A moment later, her smile vanished, and she sat down on a stool. Forget it. Might as well give it a shot. Go ahead and do my makeup. The key isn't how beautiful it is, but that it must be eerie. It has to be scary. The audience loves seeing players get terrified and run away in a panic. Regarding this unique requirement, I thought seriously for a moment. Actually, I believe beauty and eeriness aren't contradictory. Scaring people through distorted and hideous makeup is the most superficial way. A more advanced way is for you to be so beautiful that the other person feels a chill from the bottom of their heart. You look innocent, but in fact, you are a flower blooming in the dark night. Corpses are your fertilizer. When the players are toyed with by you, you clap happily, with a manic smile on your face, and the slits at the corners of your mouth look like they're going to swallow them whole. This kind of contrasting eeriness is perhaps what the audience loves more. The slit-mouthed woman stared at me like I was a freak. Are you really a player? I feel like you're even more twisted than me, a ghost. I scratched my head sheepishly. I used to do makeup for film crews. I've studied character roles a bit. When we do makeup for actors, we must first understand the character's soul to create the most suitable look. She thought about it for a bit. Anyway, our dungeon is already ranked last. It can't get any worse. With a nothing-to-lose expression, she said, just do it as you said. Alright. I opened my makeup box. I first applied a hydrating base for her. She must have been dead for some years. Her skin was very dry. The toner and lotion vanished as soon as they touched her skin, like water in a desert, gone in an instant. I couldn't help but advise her, you female ghosts really need to pay more attention to maintenance. Look at some female ghosts who have been dead for years. They still look like young girls in their 20s. The slit-mouthed woman sighed. It's not like the living world here. Skincare and cosmetics are very scarce. Only the wealthy can afford them. The cosmetics in our horror games, though paid for by the state, have a very small budget because our dungeon's performance is poor. It's a low budget, which makes it so our looks never attract the audience. I extracted the keyword from her words, audience. Right, bullet comments often appear in horror games. They are actually sent by the ghosts watching. Ghosts watching horror games is just like you living people watching variety shows. So, are there many ghosts watching horror games? Of course. As the underworld's standard of living and productivity keep improving, more and more ghosts are unwilling to be reincarnated. The underworld is overpopulated, and there's inflation. The lingering ghosts always have to find some fun. Watching horror games is their favorite. So you're saying popular NPCs in horror games are like celebrities? Exactly. I applied primer to the slit-mouthed woman and carefully used wax to cover the slits near her lips. Once the foundation covered it, at first glance, she looked like a normal person. It actually covered them. She touched the corners of her lips in surprise. The previous makeup artists could never hide them. I smiled. This is special effects makeup for films. Not many people know how to do it. Please hide the liver spots on my neck too. Thank you. I did as she asked. Noticing her nose was a bit flat, I focused on nose contouring and added some highlighter. Her entire facial structure became 3-dimensional instantly. Finally, I chose a peachy pink lip glaze, shiny and moisturizing. She looked just like a pure, innocent girl. With such a contrast, when she opens her large mouth and gives an eerie ghost smile to the players, the impact will be much stronger. The slit-mouthed woman stroked her cheeks in front of the mirror. I haven't looked this good in a long time. She clearly became much more confident. With her makeup on and wearing her wedding dress, her aura was immense. She was like a rose with thorns, pure and innocent yet hiding a sharp edge. As soon as she appeared, she earned a wave of praise in the bullet comments. Am I seeing this right? This is actually the Slipmouth woman? Did their dungeon get a new makeup artist? This is incredible. Even though I love seeing players get scared and run for their lives. But seeing pure jump scares too much gets tiring. Hey, this new look of the Slipmouth woman makes me feel like I'm eating a gourmet meal. The Slipmouth woman was very satisfied with the bullet comments. She turned around and gave me a privilege. You don't have to participate in the game. Stay in my room and watch the live stream. When the time is up, you'll naturally clear the stage. I couldn't have asked for more. In The Devil's Bride, there isn't just one Slipmouth bride, but because of the makeup artist's absence, the other brides did their own makeup. The bride's aesthetic seemed stuck in the past. They each had thick eyeshadow that looked almost like black eyes, as if they had been punched several times. They lacked the charm of a villain. Compared to the Slipmouth woman's pure yet seductively exquisite makeup, it was simply unbearable to watch. The once quiet dungeon's live stream viewership began to climb. The Slipmouth woman feigned weakness, toying with the players in the palm of her hand. Under her misleading, some players died, and some were injured. When her true face was revealed and the bloody slits tore open to her ears, the look in her eyes showed greed for flesh and disdain. She was absolutely killing it. The Devil's Bride dungeon actually made it into the top 10 in viewership for the first time. I declare the Slipmouth woman is my new favorite. I'm going to Inlang Weibo to vote for her. It's a pity the other brides' looks didn't keep up. Otherwise, this dungeon would be even better. Please, Slipmouth woman, weld this look onto your body. Seeing the praise in the bullet comments, I couldn't help but feel a sense of achievement. I was just a small makeup artist for a film crew, an inconspicuous one. I could only work on very minor characters. They said my makeup style was too distinct, steeped in mystery and eeriness, and wasn't suitable for righteous characters. I didn't expect that in a horror game, it would be so welcomed by everyone. This was the first time I received recognition from so many ghosts. As the game approached its end, the Slipmouth woman returned. Her eyes lit up when she saw me. By the way, what's your name? Jiang Yu. I've already applied to the big boss to hire you as our dungeon's permanent makeup artist. Wait, the refusal I was about to say was swallowed back when I heard the salary she offered. A monthly base salary of 10,000, plus a commission based on performance, 1,000 yuan per person per session. My goodness! As a bottom-tier makeup artist for film crews, I worked myself to death every month just to earn a fixed salary of 5,000 yuan. Even if this is a horror game, so what? Ghosts are nowhere near as terrifying as being broke. I'm definitely taking this money. But does the currency in your horror game work the same as in the living world? Don't worry, our Hellbank is also part of UnionPay. You can transfer it to your UnionPay card. I breathed a sigh of relief. That's fine. The dungeon opens once a week. The ghosts will arrive a few hours earlier than the players. That period is makeup and hair time. The Slipmouth woman handed me a uniquely styled wristwatch. This is a summoner. When it lights up, bring your makeup box and come into work. I looked down and put on the summoner. When I looked up again, I was back on the busy street filled with traffic. Everything that just happened felt like a dream, except for the summoner on my wrist, which proved it was all real. My phone suddenly rang. As soon as I picked up, a holy-sounding roar came from the other side. Jiang Yu, where the hell have you been? Why aren't you here yet? I picked up my makeup kit and instinctively started running. I was rudely interrupted by Xingjia. Take it or leave it. With your crappy skills, no one would even want you as an assistant. It's only because of my soft heart that I took you in. Anyone else would have left long ago. Listening to his venomous insults, my steps gradually slowed down. This wasn't the first time I had been dismissed by him. Clearly, the actors I worked on all liked the makeup looks I designed, but he insisted on belittling and trampling on me, as if only by stepping on me could he show off his superiority. I worked from dawn till dusk, revolving around him for low pay, all while enduring his endless verbal abuse. I've really had enough of these days. If you want to fire me, fire me. Anyway, I've wanted to quit for a long time. You don't recognize my makeup skills, but someone else does. Let me tell you, I've already found a new job. Before he could finish, I suddenly hung up the phone. It feels so good to have confidence. And this confidence was actually given to me by a horror game that everyone else is terrified of. To be a good horror game makeup artist, I spent that week researching intensively, exploring several makeup styles suitable for ghosts. A week later, the summoner lit up as expected. I grabbed my makeup box and entered the dungeon. This time, a row of brides appeared before me. Besides the Slipmouth woman, there was a long-haired ghost, a vampire ghost, and a spirit ghost. They were all sitting in a tidy row with bare faces, looking like well-behaved primary school students. I was a bit confused. The Slipmouth woman told me with a smile, "The makeup you did for me last time gained me so many fans. My colleagues all love it too. Can you handle all their makeup this time?" Being recognized, I was deeply moved. The ones in front of me didn't seem like a row of ghosts, but a row of auspicious signs. No problem, leave it to me. I opened my makeup box with great enthusiasm. The Slipmouth woman asked to keep a similar look, so I only refined her hairstyle, styling her messy, long black hair into big, bad girl waves. It matched her pure yet seductive aura. Next was the long-haired female ghost. Her usual image was using her long hair to cover her face, crawling gloomily in the shadows with her hair moving. Her long hair could strangle players, which was originally quite interesting, but because Japan has a ghost star named Sadako. She was taking the same path. The audience's preconceived notions made her feel unoriginal, so she had always been at the bottom of the NPC popularity list. I analyzed for her that to increase popularity, she had to differentiate herself from Sadako. Sadako covers her face with hair. You should show your face. Sadako has disheveled hair. You should have a styled hairstyle. Don't let the audience think you're a copycat of Sadako. Otherwise, it will really affect your likability. The long-haired ghost was very open to advice. Then what kind of look do you think fits me? I reached out and parted her long hair. Because she had covered her face with hair for years, she had quite a few breakouts on her face. The long-haired ghost was a bit embarrassed. I have acne. It's not pretty, right? Why? Acne is very cute. These are youth bumps. It shows you are in your prime. Only young corpses will seep out moisture and oil. Only then can you get breakouts. Compared to mummies that have been dead for a long time, they couldn't get acne even if they wanted to. Once these words were said, the long-haired ghost indeed beamed with joy. What female ghost doesn't like to be complimented on her youth? I first used a small brush to apply concealer to her face. After waiting for a minute, I used a brush to gently blend the edges of the concealer, letting the color merge with her skin tone. Before long, the long-haired ghost's face looked much smoother. Sadako has a very plain look. You need to differentiate from her. It's better not to go for the pure innocent route. I observed her facial features, and looked at her cascade of long hair. If she went for an ancient noble lady style, she wouldn't even need a wig. It was perfect. For the long-haired ghost, I tied up her hair, then used silk threads to bind and roll it into a cone. I used hair sticks to secure it and did her makeup. The entire look was gorgeous yet gentle, clean and exquisite. The previous image of a gloomy crawler was gone. Take a look. Do you like it? The long-haired ghost stared at the mirror, lost in thought. She stared blankly for a good while before finally reacting. I love it. I love it so much. I always used to think long hair was a burden. I didn't expect that tying it up could create this kind of aura. I nodded. From now on, no ghost will ever equate you with Sadako again. The other brides who hadn't had their makeup done yet looked on with envy, scrambling to be next. When I walked up to the vampire ghost, I noticed she wasn't completely barefaced. As soon as she smiled, she revealed a bloody mouth. Her teeth were covered in blood. I immediately handed her a clean tissue. If you want to be popular, wipe your mouth first. Actually, the vampire ghost had great natural features. Her skin was as white as snow, and her figure was graceful. She had the best skin among all the ghosts, without a single fine line around her eyes. As long as she can develop the habit of wiping her mouth after eating, and stops always showing a bloody mouth, I believe popularity won't be far off. I created a persona for her, externally noble and cold, but internally silly and cute. There was also a kind of innocent cruelty during the killings. The audience prefers this kind of multifaceted character. The vampire ghost thought about it and was moved. Not only did you do my look, but you even helped me find my acting style. How can there be such a good makeup artist like you? A makeup artist is like an actor. We both need to find the character's soul. To bring out greater charm, I carefully did the vampire ghost's makeup, and found the movie Twilight on my phone, to let her learn how to portray a charming vampire image. She watched and kept sighing. When I was alive, vampires were still terrifying and hideous images. I didn't expect that now they are all played by handsome men and beautiful women. It seems I'll have to bypass the firewall more often to learn from the living world's internet. After this, I created tailored looks for several more brides, until only the last one, the spirit ghost, was left. She appeared in a pale and ethereal form. Her body looked like it was covered by a white sheet, showing only a pair of deep eyes. The spirit ghost whispered, "Previous makeup artists never did my look. They said it was useless even if I wore makeup, since I can only show my eyes. I wonder if you're willing to help me." She was the one among the many brides who was most easily ignored, especially standing against a white wall. Her figure was almost invisible. But I told her very certainly, even if you only show your eyes, you can still be breathtaking. Really? A glimmer of hope appeared in her eyes. Leave it to me. The rest of her was all white, so her eyes were suitable for a bolder color palette. I took out eyeshadow for her, using a light apricot as a base, then using grapefruit for the corners, and a pearly champagne for the outer corners. I then took a small box of crushed gold leaf, and applied a shimmer to her eye sockets and eyebrows, pasting the gold leaf in layers. Most importantly, I used a shimmer to draw 2 tear streaks on the lower eyelid, then applied gold leaf. They looked like 2 lines of clear tears, yet also like a dazzling galaxy, both noble and mysterious. The spirit ghost looked in the mirror. As she turned, the gold leaf emitted a sparkling light, incredibly moving, and her face hidden behind the white cloth was so mysterious, adding an even more captivating charm. Thank you. The spirit ghost's eyes were bright and filled with tears. Such a brilliant makeup look, even if it's just eye makeup, makes me feel like I'm no longer just a ghost. I still exist, and can still shine in the eyes of others. For me, it's not just as simple as putting on makeup. My heart felt a little heavy hearing that. You were always this dazzling. Go out there, tonight. Countless eyes will be focused on you. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside the room. The players had entered the stage. At the same time, the horror game livestream began. As the NPCs appeared, the bullet comments gradually boiled over. She's here. My little slipmouth baby is here. The vibe is still just like last time. Wait, her hairstyle changed to big waves. What if she's even more enchanting now? I declare myself a die-hard fan of the slipmouth woman, even though I've been dead for 10 years. Originally, the bullet comments didn't have much expectation for the other NPCs, but as the other brides appeared, the atmosphere was completely ignited. Wait, who is this classical noble lady? It's actually the long-haired ghost. First time seeing her face. She's actually so elegant. Am I seeing this right? The vampire ghost's look this time is so cool. Without that huge, bloody mouth. I actually want to let him take a bite out of me. If you're this beautiful, I'm willing to be your dog. Everyone. Did you see the spirit ghost's eyes? The gold leaf is so stunning, with such beautiful eyes. How did I never notice her before? The various bullet comments couldn't help but ask soul-searching questions. Inside the room, I felt a great sense of achievement watching the comments. Praise for the brides was an affirmation of my work. The brides, now with their makeup on, even carried a different aura. When the long-haired ghost appeared, players no longer waved scissors around to cut her hair like before. Instead, they gazed in a daze. By the time her long hair began its attack, it was already impossible to escape. The vampire ghost hooked her arm around a player's neck, and the player was so mesmerized that they thought the NPC had fallen in love with them. But even as their blood was drained, a happy smile still hung on their face. The spirit ghost was even more lethal. She only needed to use those deep, sorrowful eyes to gaze at the opponent, and the player would voluntarily approach her, their body swallowed by the mist-like white cloth. The other brides also had their own highlights. The viewers of the stream were stunned. It's truly the art of murder. This is so intense. Suddenly, those previous crude intimidation methods seem totally bland. Forget the players. Even I want to enter the dungeon, to be tormented by these big sister brides. In an instant, the popularity of the Demon's Bride soared, ranking second among all dungeons. Previously, this dungeon relied entirely on the big boss to carry the show, but now, the big boss was the only one dragging the team down. The big boss actually appeared barefaced? Negative review. The stream was flooded with comments, forcing the big boss, who had just appeared, to retreat. I was just looking down to pack my makeup case, and missed the big boss's scene. The brides returned to the dressing room. I quickly took out a high-end toner and lotion set, and stuffed it into the slitmouth woman's hands. One must be worldly wise. Even ghosts can't escape the social etiquette of the underworld. This slitmouth sister introduced so many clients to me. I had to show some appreciation. Hydrating and moisturizing sets are the most practical for the skin. This is too precious. Surprised light burst from the slitmouth woman's eyes. She was even being polite with me. These skincare products are scarce in your underworld, but they're very common in the living world. I pushed the set back into her hands. If you need any makeup in the future, just tell me. I'll bring them for you from the living world. The brides were overjoyed. Really? Actually, we also want to try light makeup daily, but there are no materials in the underworld. Everything has to be burned from the living world, and the prices are extremely high. If you can act as a proxy buyer, that would be great. The term proxy buyer was quite appropriate. Others are global proxy buyers. I'm a yin-yang proxy buyer. The pursuit of beauty is shared by both women and female ghosts. The brides wrote down the makeup they needed on paper, holding it in my palm. I felt a heavy sense of responsibility. Don't worry, sisters. Leave the beauty transformations to me. After returning to reality from the dungeon, I found time to go to the duty-free shop. Unexpectedly, right after I finished shopping, I ran into Shinjia here. He looked at me with a face full of mockery. Didn't you say you found a new job? Why are you wandering around here during the day instead of working? I asked back, aren't you doing the same? Shinjia snorted coldly. I'm different from you. I'm here to purchase work, supplies. I've said it before, with your trashy skills, no one but me would take you in. It's a pity, director. My new job not only pays generously, but I'm also doing very well. Only after leaving you did I find the value in styling. If at the beginning, doing the slitmouth woman's makeup was just to get business, then now, I've truly, from the bottom of my heart, found a sense of achievement in this job. The ghosts regained confidence because of my styling, and I was nourished by their recognition. We were a perfect match. Shinjia smiled coldly, only then noticing the large pile of makeup in my hands. Buying so much? It seems you have no clients, and have switched to proxy buying instead. He actually guessed right, but I didn't have time to deal with him because at that moment the summoner on my wrist suddenly lit up. Why did the dungeon open so early this time? I turned to leave in a hurry, but Shinjia grabbed my arm. What? Feeling guilty? I'll give you one more chance. As long as you come back to be my assistant. Before he could finish, the world spun. We were pulled into the dungeon together. Seeing the various ghost NPCs in front of him, Shinjia screamed and fainted from fright. I'm sorry. It happened so suddenly. This person wouldn't let go of me, and I accidentally brought him in. While distributing the makeup to everyone, I asked, but there's still a day until the dungeon opens. Why call me now? The brides were all smiling, an excited light in their eyes. Jiang Yong, this time, our big boss also wants you to do his styling. Last time, the comments said he dragged the dungeon down. He feels very wronged. Haha, but his situation is a bit special. He needs you to come early. My curiosity was piqued. Special in what way? As I spoke, I felt the floor trembling. I turned my head, and a 3-story tall giant appeared before me. This giant had 16 heads, 32 eyes, and bulging muscles, full of suffocating power. I swallowed hard, trembling with fear. Do all 16 heads need makeup? What? No way. I twitched my mouth. I can do it for you, but it'll cost extra. The other ghosts are 1,000 yuan per head. For your 16, money isn't an issue. Our dungeon has the highest viewership now. Our value has risen. It's no longer the stingy, small dungeon from before. 16 heads at 1,000 each? My eyes lit up. Calculating it like that, just doing one ghost, the big boss, would earn me 16,000. As expected, whether in the underworld or the living world, once stars become famous, they are very wealthy. But there was only one day left to finish 16 heads for the big boss, and also do styling for all the brides. The time was still very tight. I couldn't help but look at Shinjia, who was fainted on the ground. He woke up in a daze, saw the 16-headed big boss in front of him, and was about to faint again. I was quick and stopped him. No problem helping me out, right? Shinjia was stunned. What kind of thing do you think you are, giant? Before he finished his sentence, he met the big boss's murderous gaze, and immediately lost his confidence, shaking as he nodded. This skinflint who used to order me around, under the intimidation of the ghosts, obediently became my assistant. His expression of hating me but being unable to get rid of me, really made me feel physically and mentally refreshed. I designed the styling for the big boss. His role in the dungeon is the demon who abducts the brides. Although he has a fair complexion, which doesn't look very demonic, he has 16 heads after all. Even barefaced, he's scary enough. So, previous makeup artists just took dark foundation and painted a layer on him like painting a wall. Compared with the now exquisitely styled brides, it was clearly not enough. Shinjia said, 16 heads is already scary enough. What else is there to paint? No, his demonic charm hasn't been fully utilized yet. As the saying goes, one thought creates a Buddha, one thought creates a demon. The most terrifying demon isn't a fanged, obvious villain, but one with the face of a Buddha and the heart of Yama. Seemingly heartless and desireless, sitting high on a pedestal but actually restless, with insatiable greed. I thought for a moment, and decided to paint the 4 heads on the big boss's front as kind-faced Buddhas. The 4 heads on the back would be painted as dark and cold Yamas. The transitional heads in the middle would be both good and evil, with varying expressions. Thus, a sense of depth would emerge. But there was still a problem. I looked up at the giant big boss. You're so tall. Do I need to build a scaffold to do your makeup? The big boss simply took his heads off and placed them in a row on the table in front of me. 16 heads sitting in a row, blinking 32 eyes at me. 16 mouths spoke together, paint them like this. Seeing that Shinjia was about to faint again, I supported him in time and arranged for him to go to the back to style the hair, so he wouldn't have to look directly at the 32 eyes. He finally felt a bit better and didn't dare to say a word, silently styling the hair according to my instructions. The makeup part required meticulous attention to detail, so I did it all myself. The brides watched from the side, marveling at the process. No wonder only Jiang Yong can do this job. Her mental strength is top-notch. Previous makeup artists, even if they were ghosts, didn't dare to have such close contact with the big boss. I smiled and replied, actually, it's not that I'm brave. I just believe equally that every head has the right to display its charm. When the big boss's styling was finished, everyone was shocked. He seemed to arrive on black mist, yet strands of gold thread surrounded his body, emitting a mysterious and eerie light. It was like a divine light, yet also like an evil god descending. His expression was serene, the front faces showing compassion under the gold light. But as his heads turned, the expressions gradually changed. The Buddhas were eroded by demonic energy, revealing a sharp and evil look. Even Shinjia, who always suppressed me, showed a look of shock. Keep it up. Following me indeed suppressed your talent. I was wrong to you. I laughed it off. The wounds from his denial and suppression seemed to have healed. Even the person who once looked down on me most, was now fully convinced of my skill. I, who was ordered around in the real world, was actually thriving in a horror game. I thought. Not only did the ghosts find confidence through me, but in spending time with them, I also found the path that suits me best. Nothing could be more fortunate than this. After styling all the brides, the dungeon opened again. This time, without a doubt, the Demon's Bride shot to number 1 on the dungeon viewership rankings. Clips of every dungeon NPC were edited and went viral on platforms like Quine and Weibo. Their explosion in popularity also brought me, the makeup artist, into the spotlight. Big bosses from countless dungeons offered me olive branches, trying to hire me with high salaries to do makeup for their dungeons. I became the most sought-after makeup artist in the horror game world. After making The Demon's Bride a hit, the NPC schedules became very busy. A media interview today, a fan meeting tomorrow, and even brand new dungeons, inviting the original cast to appear. I was so busy that I really had no energy left to work in other dungeons. But even so, every new look I created could stir up a wave of discussion on the internet, turning me into the #1 beauty blogger in the ghost world. The NPCs all supported me in developing my own career. With the ghost's encouragement, my confidence doubled. A week later, my first beauty live stream started on the Quine platform. As soon as the stream began, it was flooded by ghosts who came for my reputation. Is this the makeup artist from The Demon's Bride? She's actually live streaming. Hurry up and learn. Wow, the blogger's own makeup is so exquisite. She looks like a living person. Host, I've been dead for too long. My skin is especially dry. Can makeup still save me? Host, I just died recently. There's too much oil. The makeup smudges as soon as I put it on. I smiled and responded to each of the baby's questions. Everyone, don't be anxious. Every ghost can have a beauty that suits them, regardless of whether you had fair or tan skin when alive. Most ghosts have cold, pale skin. This is the skin-based color that human girls want most. When you just die, because of oil secretion, everyone basically has oily skin, but skin type is not set in stone. After being dead for a long time, it will gradually become dry skin. In the transitional period, combination oily, and combination dry skin types will also appear. So the first lesson today is how to choose the right makeup. According to your skin condition, I recommended corresponding base makeup for different skin types and carefully selected concealer suitable for ghosts. Click the shopping cart in the bottom right to purchase directly. That's right. While live streaming, I also sold some goods. Since it was being sold in the underworld, merchants from the living world wouldn't ask me for advertisements, so these were all pure, honest recommendations. The makeup bought in my live stream was good and cheap, much cheaper than buying it directly in the underworld. Although Shinjia was unwilling to deal with ghosts, he was very active in helping me buy products. Now our positions were swapped. He had become my assistant. The NPCs and the demon's bride had all become my friends. They were very happy to help me understand the characteristics of ghosts, which made my beauty livestream more and more popular, sweeping through the entire underworld. From time to time, I would also teach some ready-made looks and some healthcare for their daily routines. Under my influence, a trend of unique beauty swept through the ghost world. The ghosts began to pay attention to maintenance. Everyone joked that they didn't take care of their health while alive, but after becoming ghosts, they learned how to take care of their death. In addition, the styling in various dungeons in the horror game had improved significantly. The viewing experience improved drastically. Surprisingly, after the makeup became more exquisite, the player mortality rate also dropped. I curiously asked the NPCs why this was happening. The slipmouth woman told me that the ghosts selected to enter the dungeons mostly had a tragic and painful past. In the past, we vented all our pain and resentment onto the players, but now, your styling has made us confident. There are many ghosts who love us and praise us. When our hearts are no longer painful and empty, we naturally give the players a way to live. The spirit ghost nodded. You made us feel that even if we've become ghosts, we still have the right to pursue beauty and can still live a confident and elegant afterlife. I'm no longer insecure and irritable because I've become a ghost. Now, I feel very satisfied and happy. Their words couldn't help but move me. My heart felt as if it were moistened. I didn't expect that I, a living person, could actually bring such a change to them. The demon big boss patted my shoulder encouragingly. His 32 eyes filled with praise. Jiang Yong, you've changed more than just the dungeon's ratings. You've changed our ghost lives. You let us know that every ghost has its own charm and shouldn't give up on themselves just because they died. Now the underworld is full of the breath of spring. Horror games are no longer dead burial grounds. They've become a stage for ghosts to show themselves. With your encouragement, every ghost is working hard to find their own place. This is the change you brought to the horror game and to the entire ghost world. As the game's death rate plummeted, horror games became no longer horrific. This change also alerted the authorities in the living world. After the institutions learned of the contribution I had made, official agencies from both the living world and the underworld jointly recommended me as the ambassador for cross-realm communication. Horror games were no longer just entertainment programs for ghosts in the underworld, but also a bridge for communication between the underworld and the living world. And I firmly held my position as the #1 beauty blogger in the ghost world. After learning from my beauty live streams, countless ghosts became more confident, more cheerful, and more charming. Most of the gloom in the underworld dissipated, showing a state of prosperity. My daily beauty live stream became a daily must-watch program for the majority of ghosts.